Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another, hold on a second, I messed up already. There we go. Welcome to another Morning Musings. Glad you guys could join us. I hope everyone's doing well. Looks like we got a few people on the chat room already, so that's a good thing. I figured I better go live today, even though I don't have a whole lot to talk about, because I missed last week, Sunday, and I didn't have a guest for Tuesday. So I didn't go live on Tuesday either. So, but anyhow, here we are. And we got a few things we're going to be doing today. As always, the giveaways, thanks to our sponsors. Gopher Ridge Quail, HP Murray over there, donates some hatching eggs to give away. And Hatching Time donates a $50 gift certificate. So later on in the show today, we're going to be doing that. We'll probably be using the giveaway tool here on StreamYard, and we'll see how that goes. Matter of fact, while I'm here, I probably ought to bring that up so I don't have to fight with it later. Uh-oh. What was that? Hold on one second, guys. Okay, that's up there. All right. So let's see what else is going on. Check out our sponsors, guys. HP Murray over at Gopher Ridge Quail. Amazing man. It's got some amazing birds. Probably some of the biggest birds I've seen in a long time. I grew mine up out in the aviary, and they all look really, really nice. So, patronize HP because the man does a lot for us over here on the channel. And same with Hatching Time. Hatching Time's a great company. They've supported us since day one. And I really appreciate all that they do. Let's see. We did do the giveaway for May for the Coturnix Kids program, but we are coming up really quick on June's giveaway. If you have a kid that is interested in getting into the program, it's real easy. Head on over to CoturnixCorner.com. You'll have to sign up there, but at the top of the page in the nav bar, there's a link for the Coturnix Kids program to tell you everything you need to know about getting entered. But we got some really great sponsors for them. Wholesome Harvest donates a bag of feed to get them started. Southern Biophiliac and Big Spring Quail donate some hatching eggs that we give to the kids. Sugar Feather Farm and Stellar Game Birds donates an incubator for each winner each month. And then Pips and Chicks and Champions Blend donates a gift certificate for Tractor Supply for food or whatever else the kids need to get started. And then, of course, Hatching Time gives us a 2-unit layer cage so the kids have something to put their birds in once they get them hatched out. So if you're interested in that, or your kids are interested in signing up, head on over to coturnixcorner.com and check that out. We got a lot of great entries already. Sorry, Mom. Got to hang up on Mom. We got some great entries in there already, but every month our judges go through and they read the new entries and select a new winner. So you still got time to get in and be eligible for June and thereon. And you only got to enter once, guys. Or your kids only have to enter once. We keep the entries in there indefinitely, and then like I say, we select from those each month. So, all right, where else are we at here? The June kids is coming up. I saw something this morning when I was on Facebook, and I thought it'd be interesting. This is Bree Patch posted this, and it looks like it's a little kind of like an educational thing that she's got going on for showing 101. It's I guess for learning how for breeding, feeding, show prep, and more. But for those of you who are interested in her virtual shows that she does, I think this would be a good thing to sign up. I don't know if it's a live stream or what. It just says it's a clinic. It could be a live. I don't know, but it might be a good thing to get into to where you can maybe better your odds in the virtual show and whatnot. So check that out. What else are we talking about this morning? Oh, real quick with the showing 101 thing, I'm gonna go on our mild rant here for a second. I saw a post the other day and it kind of ticked me off over on Facebook. Somebody was asking something about color of the Coturnix quail, and there was, obviously there was a lot of different answers, but one guy answered, he said, "I'm just guessing," and he got kind of a crappy response from it. And the thing is this man is very experienced. I mean, he knows what he's talking about. He's been doing this for a long time. But yeah, you're right, Dane. I probably will get in trouble for that. But I used to be into genetics. Allie and Klaus Marshall were kind of pushing me towards genetics early on. And yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a lot of neat stuff to know about, but don't let not knowing genetics inhibit your quail breeding program. They're all the same birds underneath the feathers. So, whether you're breeding for meat and eggs, or if you're into showing, you want to get into that, then yeah, obviously learn a little bit about genetics. But I don't know, it just kind of ticked me off that somebody would comment negatively to a man that's been doing this probably 2 to 3 times longer than most of us. So, but anyhow, enough out of me. Something I'm working on right now, and I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it, but I am working on a redesign of the 240 incubator. And we have a member here in the chat room, Shantel Williams, who kind of brought to my attention some issues that she was having with the incubator. And it wasn't serious issues. I mean, the incubator still works perfectly fine. But I'm going to go ahead and on this 240, on the larger box, I'm doing a redesign mainly of the ventilation system, and trying to get it to where we have uniform temperatures throughout the entire box. It's going to be an ongoing project, obviously, because I've got to cut up a lot of foam and put a lot of boxes together and test them out. Don't let it inhibit you from purchasing one now if you want to buy one now. But I can say that the 240 is going through a design phase. We'll just put it that way. So anyhow, and I will let those who've already purchased the 240 or who have built the 240 on their own, I will be sharing any upgrades that I've made to it, so they can That's good to know, Shantel. Have mine locked down to with a half a degree now, and that's pretty much where most of them run, is within a half a degree, 3/4 of a degree. So that's perfect. I'm glad you did. Why don't you maybe later on this evening, Chantal, give me a call. I'd be interested in finding out exactly what you did that kind of steadied that for you. So okay, I think that's all out of me, guys. So we'll see you later. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump over in the chat room and see who all is in the house. And if you got any questions, go ahead and post them over there. If I can answer them, I will. If not, I will forward you to somebody who can answer them. Hold on, I just got a... I'm sure it will, Allie. Okay. All right, where are we at here? Let's see, Papa's in the houses. Good morning, all. Hope you're having a good one, Terry. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better today. I don't know what happened. I got sick Thursday, and I don't know what it was. I'm kind of leaning towards food poisoning because I did eat some quail eggs earlier that day, and that's a good point. I want to mention that too when I'm done with this. And I started feeling kind of nauseous later on in the afternoon, maybe around 3 o'clock. And I had a meeting that I had to go to at 6. And by the time I got to the meeting, I actually had to have a friend of mine ride with me down there because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to make it home. My stomach was just so knotted up and flip-flopping, and I didn't know what was going on. So that brings us to, I don't know 100% that it was food poisoning. It could have been a kidney stone, because they both have kind of similar symptoms, but I'm leaning now more towards food poisoning. And I think what it was I had quail eggs that morning, and I may have eaten a bad one. Normally when I collect eggs, I just put them in a Tupperware thing and throw them in the fridge, and then I'll wash them before I eat them. But it's very possible, because my quail are in the aviary, that they kicked one around or it got cracked or whatever, and it got some bacterial intrusion in the egg. Whatever it was, it knocked me out. Yesterday, my stomach was still pretty sore from, all the crap that was going on in there. This morning was actually, I woke up and it was not too bad, so I'm feeling pretty good. But anyhow, back to the egg thing. Make sure, guys, that you check over your eggs real good before you collect them, because I would hate to see anyone else go through what I just went through, if that's what it was. So, check your eggs, make sure they're not cracked. People ask me all the time, can I just set my eggs on the counter? Yes, you can, if you don't wash them, as long as the bloom's on them. But I highly recommend refrigerating them just to be on the safe side. So Marie's in house, says good morning. Morning, Marie. Glad you could join us. Maurice Strabo says, good morning, everyone. Back in this chilly Michigan weather. Rub it in, Maury. He leaves here. It was beautiful weather while they were down here. And, the humidity was nice. And they left, and the humidity skyrocketed. And we're in the mid-90s every day now for like the next 2 weeks. And now they get beautiful weather back home. Don says, good morning from South Mississippi. Getting too hot here too early. Tell me about it, Don. I had to work my bees yesterday morning, and I was drenched within 5 minutes of being out there. It was terrible. Papa says, yeah, in Ohio, we went from 83 to 50 degrees at night. Wow. Yeah, the weather's crazy. Allie's in the house. Says, good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us, Allie. Shantel Williams says, good morning. Costello Hobby Farm says, good morning from beautiful Alabama. Sweet home, Alabama. Robert says, good morning from Minnesota. Back to normal weather. No more heat wave. Andy Rabbit's in the house, says, good morning. Glad you could join us, Andy. CF Deacom says, good morning. Andy says, hey, Allie and Maury. Allie says good morning back to Andy. Dane Paget says good morning from Georgia. Glad you could join us, Dane. Paula Davis says, morning, everyone from the UK, Portsmouth, 2 p.m. here. Good morning, Terry. Glad you could join us, Paula, and good afternoon to you. Brian Edwards says, good morning from Texas. Morning, Brian. Nadia 21 says, hello from South Carolina. I don't know what's going on with my glasses. I'm kind of, maybe it's just light reflecting or something. All right, where'd we go here? Amanda's in the house, says good morning. Glad you could join us, Amanda. Corgolia says, morning, got the tumbler. It's very pretty. Oh, cool. Hope you enjoy it. Matter of fact, I'm using same tumbler, but West Michigan quail. Yeah, I like them tumblers. They keep drinks nice and cold. And thank you, absolutely. Papa says, just glad you're okay. Yeah, me too. I mean, that was some crazy stuff. Viking Chick says, good morning. Muddy Acres Homestead says, good morning, everyone. CWH number 1 says, morning, all. Dave B's in the house says, morning, everyone. Amanda Sis says, HP is good peoples. Absolutely, he is. Probably one of the most honest men I know in everything I've talked to him about, including quail. And he says, I've been hearing HP quail are surprisingly big. They are. Andy, I don't know if you got a shipment from him or not, but yeah, his jumbo pharaohs and jumbo Egyptians are great. He even says that his jumbo white wings are the largest line that he's got. So, yeah. Yes, Waisaki says, good morning from Perrysburg, Ohio. Robert says, HP birds are chunky monkeys. Yes, they are. Muddy Acres Homestead says, that's a great program for the kids. I agree. I mean, you know, anything to help them get started or get their interest up in quail, I think is well worth it. And the program itself, it kind of teaches them something, because to be entered in the program, the kids have to do a little write-up on something that they've done for someone else without expecting anything in return. And most of the kids do, you know, like work around the house, you know, to help out the parents or help out somebody. Last month's winter, girl she went around her neighborhood and collected towels, which she donated to an animal shelter for the animals. So, you know, it's stuff like that. It's great. And I love to see the kids getting into it. And I also love to see the kids getting started with quail. 340 Quail Farm says, good morning, everyone. Central Florida checking in. Glad you could join us. Dane says, Terry's going to be in trouble for sending mom to voicemail. Yeah, she'll leave me a message. She usually does. Jeffrey says, good morning from Central Kentucky. And he said, people can be jerks. Yes, they can. And Facebook's one of the worst places for them. And that's one reason I try to stay away from Facebook. Yep. Go for Ridge Quail. HP's in the house. Says, good morning, all. Let's have a cup or 2 or 3. Glad you could join us, HP. Nadia 21 says, currently feeding Kalmbach layer crumble 17%, supplementing with dried black soldier fly larvae and free feeding oyster shells. Would 20% crumble be better? I'm seeing people feeding 22 or even higher. Yeah, 20% would be fine, you know, if you want to bump their protein up a little bit. The only thing that it's not really that big of a concern, but once you start getting on the higher percentage of protein, sometimes you get, you know, like fat buildup in the quail. But 20% isn't that much. I mean, as a matter of fact, my quail out in the aviary were on 20% and they were doing just fine. Shantel says, hey, Terry, I have mine locked down within a half degree now. That's great. Amanda says, that's awesome, Terry. We love ours. Okay, great. Papa says, sitting here with Terry, coffee, and my first quail ever. It's a good day, LOL. Cool. Shantel says, it's good to have engineering friends. No problem. It was easy. Cool. Yeah, I'm really interested to find out what you guys did. CWH number one, how can you calibrate temperature in an incubator? I have 3 thermometers and not sure any of them are correct. Yeah, that can be kind of tricky. The thing that I always tell people, order if you can off. I don't have any here. Amazon has ThermPro thermometers. It's a thermometer hydrometer combo, and I found that probably 90% of them are pretty accurate within, you know, a tenth of a degree or so, maybe up to a half a degree off. But what I do is I order a pack of 6 and I set them in the room or in the incubator, wherever, and I just let them go for like 24 to 48 hours. And then I pick the 3 or 4 that match the closest, and I use them for calibrating my incubator. Now, as far as calibrating the incubator temperature itself, that you're going to have to play with a little bit. I mean, once you know you've got thermometers that are pretty accurate, compare that to what your regulator's reading. Make any adjustments in your regulator that you need to. It does have the Inkbirds have a calibration mode. But otherwise, you got to play with the vents on your incubator. The room that you keep the incubator in itself could be, causing issues with temperature and or humidity. So, yeah, there's a few things that you can do, but and sometimes you have to add more insulation to an incubator. I know some of these dome style incubators, they come with a dome styrofoam piece that fits over the incubator to hold the heat in. And a lot of people think that that's packaging and they throw it away. Well, you need to keep that, because that, if it's getting too cool in there, you can, kind of help heat it up a little bit. Oh, let's see here. Julia RTV says, hi, Terry. Thank God you're doing good. God bless you. Well, thank you. Yeah, like I say, I'm doing a lot better now. I'm actually drinking apple cider vinegar water right now. It kind of helps settle my stomach a little bit. But yeah, I don't know what that was, but it kind of hurt. Gargolian says, the weather person said we're hotter than Florida today. Oh, my Lord. That's pretty bad, because today we're going to be, I think it said 93 or 94. Paula says, sorry, do not feel well. Hope you feel better soon. Yeah, I'm feeling, better today. Definitely better than I was the last 2 days, but we'll get there. Kurt's in the house. Good morning, everyone. Glad you could join us, Kurt. Papa says, good to see you, HP. Going to get some more eggs from you soon. The chicks are huge and healthy. Very cool. That's a common thing I hear about HP's birds. Julia says, question, how long can I keep eggs on the counter without washing them? Also in the fridge, please. I missed it. Thank you. On the counter, depending on where you're at, like I'm in Florida and it's usually pretty warm, but if your house is like air conditioned, you can leave them on the counter. They say up to a month, and then up to 2 months if they're in the refrigerator. Biggest thing on the counter is make sure you don't wash the eggs. You don't want to wash the bloom off. And in the refrigerator, you can wash the ones that are going in the refrigerator, but I don't. I leave the bloom on, put them in the fridge, and then as I'm using them, then I wash them off to clean anything that might be on them. But yeah, the biggest thing is check your eggs over. Make sure there's no hairline fractures in them or cracks, anything that, bacteria can intrude into the egg. Because if that's what made me sick Thursday, right now I'm kind of leery about eating any more quail eggs. I got to wait until I start feeling better before I do that again. Costello Hobby Farms says, question, other than hardware cloth around the walls of the aviary, how else should I predator proof it? I've seen a few snakes lately and a coyote last Sunday take a chicken. I don't want my quail taken. On mine, what I did, I got the 1/2-inch hardware cloth all the way around. On the bottom half, I used the coated hardware cloth just because I had it, but I think that's, a little bit stronger than the non-coated stuff. And I also put lattice around the whole bottom half of the aviary. One, to kind of keep people from being able to see in, provides a little more shade for the birds, and makes it a little bit harder for any big predators to get in. Knock on wood, I've been really lucky with predators. And we've got cats, feral cats, all over the place. So, the hardware cloth and the lattice did good. Brian says, good morning from Alabama. Brian. Sorry about that. Glad you could join us, Brian. Julia says, good morning, everyone. Ori says, good morning, Andy. Man, my back is all of a sudden just starting to kill me. Pop Dorn says, question, being that I'm new to this, what first aid stuff should I keep on hand? I'm raising them for meat and eggs. That's a good question. If you want some stuff for your birds, I would keep like hydrogen peroxide, some type of a triple antibiotic ointment for, dealing with birds that get injured. Some people say that you can use this blue stuff, and I can't remember what it's called. But I've heard a lot of people say you really don't want to use it. So I never point anybody towards it. That's pretty much all that I have, when it comes to taking care of birds that get injured. So I haven't really needed anything else. Should we do a float test after like a week? You can. I've never done one. And like I say, this is the first time in 6 years that I've gotten sick from eating a quail egg. If that's what caused it, I don't know. Thumper says, built a large coop for 18 or 20 chickens. Got 5 right now. Plan on 5 or 6 5-tier quail cages. Plan on 100 or so. Nice. Bear just broke in the shed and ate all the feed. Ever have a bear problem? Knock on wood, no, I have not. We do have bears down here in South Florida, but lucky for me, none of them had tried to find my quail or my bees. I think I'd worry more about them going after my bees than the quail. Twisted Garrett's Farms in the house this morning. We just went to California to get nice. A 1964 VW Beetle. Wow. A little wore out from the drive. Oh, I can imagine. Nice find, though. My neighbor was just over yesterday asking me if I would come and look at an old 77 Ford F-150 with a 300 in it. And I can't believe the price they're selling it for, but it's probably worth it, But yeah, I'd love to get an old vehicle again, like an old truck. I mean, I got a 98. That's kind of old. The kids program really got us started in quail. My daughter is obsessed now. I'm so appreciative of all the donors. Such a generous, great community of people. Thank you. Yeah, I can't thank our sponsors enough for that. We wouldn't have a program if it wasn't for them. So, yeah, much appreciated. Allie says, woohoo, HP. HP's he's a popular man. In the UK, we only have 18. Okay. Cam's in the house. Says hello. Glad you could join us, Cam. And he says, the batch of eggs I got from HP had a good hatch rate. 2 days after they were in the brooder, the heat went out and I lost them all. Oh, that was a sad morning. I can imagine. Yep. We had power go out here. Was it last night? I believe it was last night. I was sleeping. The only way I knew it went out was the air conditioner went off. It went out like 3 different times. Papa says, what model of Therm Pro? I don't know the exact model number. Papa, if you'll email me, Terry@CoturnixCorner.com, I'll get that for you and send it to you. It's one of the cheaper ones. I mean, it's not the top of the line. I think all the Therm Pros are great thermometers. There you go. Dave says, I like the 3595, but all are good. Okay, there you go. Amanda says, Therm Pro has a good one that Bluetooths to your cell phone and alerts you of any fluctuations, and you can set the sensitivity. Cool. See, I didn't even know that. like I say, I've always ordered the same ones that I've been ordering for the past 6 years, and they work great. MJS Pets and Exotics. Mick says, hi all from Liverpool, England. Cool. Glad you could join us, Mick. Paula says, in the UK, we only get 18% chick feed. Okay, that's what the 18 was for chicks, and the same for quail food, and we have to add grit. Yeah, that's crazy that you can't get a higher percentage, like a game bird or something. Keanu, sorry about that. I should know how to pronounce that. Terry the band, Fahrenheit to Celsius, California or calibration to, minus 0.3. Yep, chicken eggs now sitting at 100.6 Fahrenheit. Thanks a million for the Inkbird update. Yeah, Keanu, that actually worked really well. And the funny thing was, I've always known since day one that you could go into Celsius mode on the Inkbird, but I never knew that it was that you had more control over the temperature. I actually found it on backyardchickens.com. I was browsing through there one day and reading up on it, and sure enough, so I gave that a shot, and wow, did that make a difference. Shantel says, I've seen a lot on quail being hardy with cold weather. What about heat? Is there a limit we need to stay below if they have shade and a fan? Well, I can tell you that I've kept a lot of birds out of my aviary, and we get temperatures, upper 90s with a feels like temp of, triple digits. And my birds have a way to get out of the sun. But there is no, I don't have a fan or anything in there, and they do just fine. You might see them panting a little bit, but that's pretty normal for when it gets warm. Just make sure they've got, cold water, or not cold water, just water available at all times. Fresh water is what I meant. I did see somebody, and I don't remember who it was or when it was, that put a misting system on their aviary. And when the temperatures got in the, say, low to mid 90s, they would put that mister on. And you would think the mister would be inside the aviary, but it wasn't. It was on the outside, blowing the water up over the top of the roof. And I guess by evaporation of that water off the roof, it actually cooled the interior of the aviary. So, Dave says, what upcoming episodes do you have on the calendar, Terry? Actually, nothing lined up per se until I'm going up to Michigan next month. And we're going to be going live from West Michigan quail again. Maury's going to smoke some quail up. I think he's going to do quail and smoked eggs. So, that's the only one right now that we've got lined up. So, Cam says, good morning from Maine. Thank you for your videos. Gave me enough confidence to start a quail project. Cool. Good luck with your quail project. Thumper, have a 10,000 gallon above ground swimming pool. We don't use it, but we have tree frogs and thousands of tadpoles. Chickens love them. There you go. I would have never thought to feed my chickens tadpoles. Oh, let's see. Sorry about that. My sleep schedule lately has been crazy. Since I got sick, I'm just sleeping all the time. But I woke up today feeling a little bit better. So, Paula says, how many can you leave fertilized? How many days can you leave fertilized eggs for? I would, if you're talking about incubating them, I would definitely get them in the incubator by the 10th day. Fertility starts dropping after 10 days. So, if that's not what you're talking about, Paula, repost it and I'll try to answer it then. Julia says, thank you so much. I have about 60 and 29 incubated with 4 already hatched. Cool. Good luck on your hatch. Larry says, good morning, guys. Have a blessed day. My question is, how long do you suggest you can wait to incubate quail eggs? Up to 10 days, Larry. I wouldn't wait longer than that. I usually put mine in the incubator after 7 days. I collect for 7 days. And I keep them on a counter in a cool room, and and then put them in the incubator when I'm ready to when I got enough eggs to incubate. Dave says I need a triple double HP. Talking about this coffee. Viking Chick says thank you again for the beautiful eggs. They are in the incubator. Cool. Good luck with your hatch. I'm sure you will be happy. Paula said, when I had a bad stomach flu, lemonade was good. Stomach. Yeah, okay. Yeah, apple cider vinegar always seems to help me out. And I take it anyhow because I have issues with kidney stones now and then. So hopefully the apple cider vinegar will do something for that. But let's see. Amanda says quail eggs are most fertile if incubated within 7 days, about 85 to 95%. After 10 days, fertility drops fast, often below 60%. Yep. Blueco. Thank you, Julia. That's exactly what I couldn't remember. I knew it was blue something. I never used it. I heard some people up in Canada. I think I heard somebody tell me in Canada it was illegal to use that stuff. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I read that somewhere. Why, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly all what's in it. Thumper, with my bear problems, planning on electric wire, but heard you have to bait with a strip of bacon to get their nose to it. Oh, strip of bacon to get their nose to it. Huh, I never heard of that. I mean, I guess that would definitely wake them up. I don't know. I know of one person that's got a fencer around their beehives. I don't know if they put bacon hanging on the wire or not, but I'm not sure on that. All right, guys, we're getting close to doing a giveaway. So we're going to go ahead and do the first one for a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. So if you want to comment over in the chat room, hashtag Hatching Time, all one word, all lowercase. And then we'll give you a few minutes to let people go ahead and get their hashtags entered. And then we'll go ahead and do the first giveaway. And then in a little bit after that, we'll do the hatching egg giveaway. Nadia says, I like to keep Quick Stop Snipic powder in my first aid kit. Stop bleeding and dries up the wound so others can't peck at it. Yeah, that's a good one too. I actually use something very similar to that for when I clip my dog's nails. If I go a little bit too far, I'll dip their toenail in that, and it usually stops the bleeding right away. Robert says, I use Therm Pro with Bluetooth. There you go. No, I got to look that one up because I haven't really seen any of the newer model Therm Pros because when I order new ones, I just go to my history on Amazon or my past orders, pull that up and order the same ones. Let's see. Robert says, love your program. I've just started with quail and need all the help I can get. Well, I hope, the channel is helping you out. There's a lot of good live streams on there with some very educated, well-educated, and intelligent people. So don't skip over the live stream just because they're longer. Maybe play it while you're doing something and just listen to it in the background. But, we've had a lot of great people on there. HP's been on there. Allie's been on there. Michael Rose, and they're sharing information that, a lot of times you can't find on YouTube channels just because the information that they're sharing is more advanced. So yeah, I'm glad the channel's helping out though. Andrew Rabb says, I just hatched some of my own eggs. I put them in pairs of 2. One hen hatched 17. Cool. The next was 10. The next was 15. I don't think that was too bad. No, not really. Nice. Cam says, sweet, another Cam. All right, let's see. We'll take one more and then we will jump over into the giveaway. Let's see. Viking Chick talking to Costello Happy Farm. We have all kinds of predators here too. Coyotes. I've used pre-made chain link fence panels covered in hardware cloth to make my chicken and quail pens and yards. That's a good idea. Very good idea. All right. Well, it looks like I want to get to that question here. Actually, I want to pull that question up real quick. While I know Allie's still in the house, Dave wants to know, Terry, you don't have that Allie and Klaus episode lined up yet? It's not like I'm not trying, guys. I keep reaching out to both of them, and they're not giving me the runaround, but they're not giving me an answer either. So as soon as I get both of them to commit, we will definitely do it. So we'll see what happens there. CWH1 says, I'm starting to boil about 200 eggs to put in the smoker. Very cool. I don't think you need to boil them to smoke them. I was asking Maury about that from West Michigan Quail. He says you just put them in raw, and the smoker actually cooks them. So, all right, let's go ahead and see if we can remember how to do this giveaway. Present. We're going to do a share screen. Giveaway tool. Share. Now, hopefully that screen will pop up for you guys here in a second. I'm going to choose a live stream, and we are going to put in our. You got to make sure you spell it right, guys, because if I messed it up one time, I spelled Go for Ridge wrong. All right, so let's collect the comments. Hatching time. We have 23 entries. Let's go ahead and do our drawing. Brian Edwards, you're going to get a Hatching Time gift certificate. Brian, I need you to send me your shipping information to Terry at Coturnixcorner.com. I'll put that in the comments. Make sure I definitely, Brian, get a good email address for you because that's how Hatching Time will send it to you. But go ahead and send me all your shipping information. That way I forward that to Hatching Time, and they actually send you out like specials that they have going on. So it's kind of a neat thing to get into. But yeah, I will get that forwarded over to Hatching Time as soon as I get your email, and keep an eye on your email because that's the way they are going to send it to you. Let's see where we at here. Oh, nope. Another reminder, Allie and Klaus episode. Paula says, how's your chickens doing? Did they hatch? They did. I had 10 Brahmas out of 11. I had 11 eggs that candled good out of 18. And then I had 10 out of the 11 hatch out. And they are now out in my aviary. I went through and butchered up a whole bunch of quail and gave away a few quail. And so the Brahmas are out there. And now I am in the process of building an outdoor cage for my quail. So too many projects going on, guys. Cargolian says, when I feel icky, I drink Sprite. Don't know why. Yeah, I mean, I think anything that's got like carbonated water in it, kind of settles the stomach a little bit. I don't know. I've always done the apple cider vinegar thing, and it seems to work for me. So Cargolian says, I heard you can't eat eggs. I heard you can't eat the eggs after using that. Oh, I don't. Oh, are you talking about the Blueco? That may have been what I heard. I know it was something. The Blueco did something. I don't know exactly what it was, and I hate to guess, but I do remember reading something about it. So, all right, where are we at here? Amanda says, question: Has anyone done tests on outcomes of turning eggs before incubation versus letting eggs sit for those 7 days? I haven't specifically tested for it. I don't turn the eggs at all. I put them a lot of times I'll put them in the incubator in the turner and just leave the incubator off until I'm ready to go. And then once I turn the incubator on, then I'll plug the turner in. I don't know. I think I've heard a few people saying that they do turn the eggs while they're, waiting, but I don't know how much it would affect the fertility, or not the fertility, but the hatch rate. I don't know that. I mean, I see chickens collecting eggs all the time, and I had a quail hen out in the aviary. It was funny. She would go around the aviary and collect eggs and wheel them back to her little spot. But whether or not she was turning them before she was sitting on them, that I don't know. So that would be a good project for you to do, Amanda. Test it out and let us know what your results were. Papa says, as a combat vet, I can say these birds have been very cathartic. Helps to keep my PTSD down. That's good. Might be a good program to get started for someone from quail to quiet. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. All right, looks like we got a whole bunch of hatching time comments. Sundial Fragrance Reviews in the house this morning, everyone. Glad you could join us. Paula says, sugar good for bleeding. Really? I've never heard that one. Papa said, just a thought. I'm shiny new at this, so I'm not the guy to start something like this. LOL. Kind of unsure what you're talking about there, Papa. I'm going back to see if I can find out what he was referring to. Regardless, if it's important, I'm sure he'll let me know. Julia says, question, should I help my chipping eggs if they've been trying for more than 2 days, or let them be? I don't assist in any way when it comes to hatching. I figure if the bird's not strong enough on his own to get out, it wasn't meant to be. I mean, I've seen people, on Facebook all the time, somebody's posting a pic of a bird that's partially hatched out and wanting to know how long they should wait before they help it. I always tell them, don't interfere with the bird. If the bird was strong enough and meant to survive, it is a survival of the fittest. So I don't help them. Papa, I have adopted a few out recently. There's another one. I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe they're not talking to me. Paula says, Terry gives great advice and it helps me. Well, cool. I'm glad that it does help you. There's a lot of great people on the channel. I mean, it's not just me. A lot of people have contributed, on the channel, Allie being one of them, HP being another. Just a lot of people come on the channel, whether it's on a live stream or, help out on the Facebook group, answering questions and whatnot. So yeah, it's not just me, it's everyone. Sundial Fragrance Review says, I just trying the 2 quail recipes and they are delicious. Hope you do more. Thank you so much. Cool. Glad you enjoyed it. We did. I love that, the bacon wrapped quail, stuffed quail. It was good. Maury's going to be doing another one here in a couple weeks. He's going to be smoking some quail on a smoker and also smoked quail eggs. So that should be pretty interesting. Yeah, here's Papa says, talking to Julia, just my opinion, if they're not strong enough to hatch, they're not strong enough to live. That's my thought on the whole thing too. So, and I'm a heavy color. I mean, even my young chicks, day and 2 day old chicks, if they don't look like they're doing well, or they have, failure to thrive, or they, have an issue with their feet or their legs, like, splay leg or whatever, wry neck, I call them immediately. I don't try to fix something that's, broken. I just don't see no point in continuing on a genetics that's not strong. You know what I mean? Always work for strong genetics. Let's see. Marie says, I will be transferring a swarm to a box that we caught on Mother's Day. Cool. I got a swarm a month or so ago, and it's doing really well. It's the only swarm I got this year, and kind of thank God for that, because I've done so much queen breeding this year that I've got, well, I came out of winter with 3 hives, and I now have 14. And I actually, believe it or not, I just went that meeting that I was telling you that I had to go to on Thursday. That was our bee club meeting, and I met with Sam Comfort there. If you don't know who he is, look him up. The guy's amazing. But he brought me a bunch of queens, and I went through and requeened my entire apiary with Sam's genetics, and they're all VHS queens, pole line queens. They're just top of the line queens. So we'll see how they do. Necro Kitty's in the house, says, hey, glad you could join us. Allie says, I'll message you, Terry. Actually, you've been a matchmaker, and I've been too busy flirting with Dave. He and HP are messing with me. Dang quail community. They'll do that to you. All right, I will look for your message. You better message Klaus first. Okay, a bunch of congratulations going out to Brian. Cam says, I wonder if natural smokes gives me indigestion. I stopped eating smoked food because of that. I was suspect it was a chemical smoke. Possible. Believe it or not, I've heard of people having, this is from a cardiologist, people having issues inside their arteries. I think he called it darkening of the arteries, that they can actually see the barbecue and the smoke, especially for people that barbecue and like to make it crispy or burnt, I guess you would say. He was telling me that that can affect your arteries by eating, smoked or barbecued food. So even though I love barbecued food and I'm not going to give it up, but just keep that in mind. Necro Kitty says, have we done the hashtag Go for Ridge yet? No, but we are going to in about 5 minutes. So if you guys want to get into that, we're going to go ahead and call for the hashtag Gopher Ridge. Make sure you spell it correctly. Gopher and Ridge, all one word, all lowercase, just like Necro Kitty has here. And when we get down to the bottom of the questions, we will go ahead and do the drawing for the giveaway. Sundial Fragrance says, question, how are you introducing the young quail to the old ones in the aviary at how many weeks? Usually my birds, if they're going in the aviary and there's older birds in there, I don't put them in there till they're 4 weeks. That way they're pretty close in size. And I have a lot of, I do the introduction late in the evening, and there's also a lot of hide places in my aviary that the young quail can get away from bigger quail. But I've never really had a problem with it. I mean, I just throw them in there and they seem to do fine. CWH1 says, I do a cool smoke after I boil, then brine for 3 hours. There you go, giving them a slightly salty and smoky flavor. Cool. Yeah, there's probably millions of ways you can do it. Corgolian says, that meaning for the Blueco. I kind of thought that's what you were talking about. Sundial Fragrance says, question, are you keeping a ration male to female in the aviary? At first, no. I put an entire hatch out there. I went through and I culled at about 6 weeks, culled a bunch of ones that I didn't want. And then for the longest time, I think I had like 5 roosters in there and maybe 15 or 16 hens. And surprisingly, nobody got beat up. They all grew up together and they did fine. But yeah, normally in the aviary, I would do my standard, 1 to 5 ratio. If I was really concerned about fertility rates. If I'm not so much concerned about fertility rates, then I'll do like a 1 to 10. And, I've still, even at low ratios like that, I've still got decent hatch rates or a decent fertility rate. And I think it was Oh, Tamara Roselle out of Australia. She's the one that turned me on to the 1 to 10 ratio, saying that, they'll do just fine with that. So. All right, where are we here? Julia says, I'm glad you mentioned it. Now I won't purchase it. Blueco. Like I say, I don't know anything about it. I know a lot of people do recommend it, but I was almost positive I heard something negative about it. Cam says, sounds yummy. Andrew Rabbit says, I do not turn my eggs before I set them. Yeah, I don't either. So Shantel says, do you know what can cause a bunch of eggs to pip but not hatch? A lot of times it's humidity. The chick pips, and they dry out inside the shell if the humidity is too low. Shantel, I know you know what you're doing, so I wouldn't think that was the issue. It's possible that you had a batch of eggs that the chicks were just too weak. They pipped out, and then a lot of times, I'll have an egg pip, and they'll sit for 12 to 24 hours before they'll start unzipping the egg. I've had chicks, go through a partial unzip, like unzip halfway around the egg, and then just they're too exhausted to finish unzipping, so they end up dying in the shell. There's, without actually knowing exactly what situation was, I really couldn't answer that one. Yeah, I would think either the chicks were just too weak or there was a humidity issue. Let's see, sundial, fragrance. Hit the wrong button. Question, since quail are on the ground in the aviary, do they need a deworming treatment? I've never dewormed any of my birds, never treated them for anything as far as medicated feed. And I actually asked Jennifer Bryant over at Bryant's Roost, because I just got these Brahmas and I've never kept Brahmas before. And I asked her about if I should be feeding them medicated. And she told me the same thing. She says, I've never treated any of my birds. I've never wormed them, and they do just fine. So, and there are a bunch of natural stuff that you can use for like a dewormer. I think pumpkin's one of them, if I'm not mistaken. I would look into that. Do a search, for natural dewormers for poultry. If you're concerned about it, that might be a good way to go. What are your thoughts on a quail tracker? I did that for a little while. It works out okay. Just make sure that there's no predators, that can get around the tractor and get in, and get to your birds. But I mean, with the birds being out in the aviary, I guess it's basically the same thing. They just, don't have fresh grass to get to. But if you're like on a farm or something and you've got, grass and hay and that kind of stuff, yeah, I'm sure they'd probably benefit from it. I do know someone that I set up with quail not too long ago, and she actually built a quail tractor for her cage, and she's a organic farmer, I guess. Everything she does is totally organic, and all her quail are in that tractor, and that's all they live in. And she moves them around all the time, and they do just fine. So she said it is kind of a pain collecting eggs, but she thinks it's worth it. Oh, okay, Papa. It was about a veterinary program. Now it makes sense. Julia says, apologize for all the questions, but appreciate your response and help. Thank you so very much. That's what we're here for. Questions. The live streams would be pretty boring without them. Wow, we're coming up on 10 o'clock, and I got to get to the feed store here. My chickens are out of feed. Negro Kitty says, I help chicks get out of eggs after I failed to add more water, and they shrink wrapped, and they always self-deleted anyways. Yeah, that can happen. Like I say, I don't help the birds when the hatching part comes. You either get out of the egg or you're not going to make it. Amanda says, I use cornstarch to stop bleeding. It works like a charm and all natural. There you go. Good idea. Okay, Corgolian says, okay, time to groom. Thank you for the stream. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We will see you hopefully next week. Kara's in the house, says good morning, everyone. All right, looks like we're getting down to a few of the Gopher Ridge comments, so we're going to go ahead and do that drawing. I got one more question real quick. Nanny says, after hatching, how do you control the temperature for the next 3 weeks? I know it's much different than chickens, and thank you so much for all your great information. Nanny, all I do is I got a plastic tub. They're Sterilite tubs that I get at Walmart. They're like 105 quart tubs, I believe they are. And I built a framed out some wire. Trying to think of the kind of wire, hardware cloth. Thank you. And I have that stapled to the frame. And on top of that, I just set a clamp lamp with a 100-watt bulb in it. And that has worked for me for 6-7 years now for hatching quail. I try to keep the feed and the water down on the end where the heat is. That way they don't have to leave the heat to get, food or water until they start getting a little bit older. Once they get a little bit older and start feathering out, then I'll move it away. But usually the first 2 to 3 days is the most important when it comes to the heat placement and the water, because you'll notice that the chicks, if they're cold, they're going to huddle underneath that light. And if they're hot, they're going to huddle at the far end of your brooder. So let the chicks tell you what they need. But like I say, a 100-watt light bulb, that is maybe, I know I can't give you a height, probably 13 inches, 14 inches above the quail, maybe even less than that, maybe be only 12 inches. But that's always done well for me. I have used, commercial brooders, and yeah, they work good, but the cleaning was a little more difficult than I wanted to get into with that stuff. So, all right, I think that leaves us down to the Gopher Ridge drawing. HP says, now it's mine and Dave's fault Allie hadn't scheduled live. Just saying. Picking on Allie Day. All right, let's go ahead and do another drawing. Give away some hatching eggs from HP Murray over at Gopher Ridge Quail. Let's see, share the screen. Okay, there was our last winner. Let me go back. Oh, what did I do wrong? Hold on, I did something wrong. There we go. Choose the live stream, morning musings. Hashtag GOPHERRIDGE. Gopher Ridge. Let's see how many people are entering this one. Looks like 28 people are interested in some hatching eggs. And let's see who the lucky winner is. Golden State Quail. I know that's a new one. All right, Golden State. Okay, Golden State Quail. I need you to send me your shipping information to Terry at CoturnixCorner.com. I'll go ahead and post that again. If I can spell. And make sure that I get a good email address, a good phone number, and a good shipping address. Also include your real name, not just Golden State Quail. You can, let me know that you're from Golden State Quail, but I need your actual real name. And I will forward that on to HP, and he will get you hooked up very shortly. All right, guys, just real quick, I want to see if we got any more last-minute questions. Not talking to me. Sundial Fragrance says, questions. Are you feeding the quail also lettuce and other greens, or just regular feed? I do give my quail table scraps, healthy table scraps. Like if we have, salads or vegetables, leftover stuff. Yeah, I'll give that out. I throw that out to them, or any leftover produce. Yes, I do give it to them. And for the most part, they pick through it, pretty good and eat most of what we do give them. But yeah, I mean, do you have to? No. But I think the quail enjoy it. So Randy says, hey, all, I just had my first hatch yesterday, so I joined just in time. It sounded. Well, cool. Congratulations, Randy. Hope you had a good turnout. A lot of people saying congrats to Golden State Quail. Absolutely. All right. That's it for the questions, and I've got to head out to the feed store. So, guys, I want to thank you for joining me today. I really enjoyed it. As far as going live, Tuesday, I don't know. I don't have a guest lined up yet. If I can find one, then yeah, I can go live Tuesday. Otherwise, it'll be next week, Sunday. And I'll keep hammering on Klaus and Allie to get together and schedule a live stream for you guys. So everyone, thanks for joining us again. And congratulations to our winners. And we'll see you guys definitely next week, Sunday. Bye-bye.